Hey guys, it's late. It's late. And I look toned as hell. But anyways, um I just wanted to come on and tell you my life story. I don't know why I just had it just popped in my head like 5 seconds ago, so I just started recording. Um so let's see here. Where do we start? Well, I guess at the start of life. I was born August. I'm so dumb. I forgot my own birthday for a second there. October 24th, October 4th, 2004. My god. I really said October 24th. Maybe that's just because I met up with my friend and he said he was born on October 24th, but whatever. Um, but yeah, I was born October 4th, 2004, in Falmouth, Massachusetts. Yeah, I was born in Massachusetts. Um, that still surprises me to this day. Like, out of all the places I could have been, my dad was in the military for 20 plus years, and I was born in Massachusetts, in Falmouth, Massachusetts. That's like very close to where they landed. The Pilgrims landed in whatever the hell they landed in, whatever year they landed in. But yeah, so I was born there around 3:30 a.m. Um, Healthy baby. I was about 8 pounds 10 ounces, big baby. Um, Next thing I remember, we moved here to live with my grandparents who we're living with right now. Um, to get back on our feet or whatever, so my parents could get back on their feet. So while we were there, it was Christmas time, and this was the only time I ever saw my uncle Matt. Christmas Day. That's the only time I remember seeing him. And to this day, I have not seen him. I don't know where he is, but yeah. Next, I remember we went to Florida to visit my uncle Dan Dan, my dad on my dad's side, his brother, his older brother. Um, we he had a pool. I remember that. And this one thing I remember about his house had a doorway in it. Shut up. Had a doorway in it, and it was like a bead door, not like a door. It was like it had beads for the door instead. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever as a kid. Like I would just spend hours walking through that door. I was just so amazed by it. But next I remember we moved to Louisiana. That's where my dad was stationed, Barksdale, Louisiana. I met my first friend there. His name was Tyler Waters. He was 12 when I left, which was when I was 4, so he's 8 years older than me, which means he would be 24 or 25 right now. Yeah. And I injured myself a lot as a kid. I still injure myself quite often, but not nearly as much. But I okay, so first injury I remember was getting my okay, so this happened when I was like 3 maybe. So my mom was going to work out. My dad wasn't home, he was at work. So she took me to the Y that she worked out in. And since I was 3, she had to put me in the daycare center, I guess, but there was no daycare center. It was just like a playpen. And the playpen was right next to all the fitness equipment, like the treadmills and stuff. And then sorry. So my mom was on a treadmill like a couple feet away, like maybe 10, 20 feet away. I was in the playpen all by myself playing with the wooden toys. I remember there was a wooden plane that I loved to play with. And I was hungry, right? Like I hadn't eaten the whole morning. And I knew my mom always carried fruit snacks in her purse, which was right behind the treadmill she was working out on at the time. So I was like, huh, me want fruit snacks. Me want fruit snacks. And so I tried to go get to them, but there was a gate in the way, right? But then my caveman brain, my cave child brain suddenly grew a little bigger, and I was like, ooh, push this down, open gate. I've seen it done a million times. And so I pushed it down and I got out. I felt like such a smart aleck, because I was. Then I went behind mom and the treadmill to her purse to get the fruit snacks. Now, the purse was right here. The treadmill was right here. I went like this, and this hand grabbed the fruit snacks. I pulled it closer to me, but this hand was still going. And it went under the treadmill. Not under the treadmill, but like between the bottom of the treadmill and the thing that went around the floor, I guess, that you walk on. So, this part of my hand shredded off. All the skin. You could see through the bones. The next thing I remember was being in this. I know this wasn't true, but I had such like a giant memory, such a real memory of um what was it? It was a UPS truck taking me to the hospital. But I know it wasn't that. um so yeah, we that was my first ever ambulance ride. Sorry, it's late. It's 11:40. I don't know why I'm doing this video, but I am. So we got to the hospital. I had to take some steroids or something in a needle to like stop infection from happening. But yeah, that was the end of that. That was my first needle too, I think. Then a couple months later, I was playing in my backyard. Okay, here's a little backstory. Our house was a ranch house. It was right on a lake with a huge backyard. I'm saying like maybe half an acre or so, quarter acre, huge. But I was playing around outside. We had fire ants, a lot of fire ant hills in the backyard, by the way. In So I was playing back there in flip flops. I accidentally stepped on one, and I knew it. And I was like, "What do I do? What do I do?" And while I was thinking, fire ants crawled up my. I think it was my right foot. No, my left foot. Yeah, it was my left foot and my right foot. Yeah, I stepped in two fire ant hills. They crawled up my feet and started biting and putting their venom in my feet and all that. And I screamed. Mom heard me, came out, and hosed my feet down. Then we went to the hospital again, and I had to get like something for that. I forget what, but I had to get something. I I have the faintest memory of like taking a needle orally, like just putting the needle in my mouth and then them squirting it in. I don't know. But yeah. The last thing I remember about Louisiana was so it was the last day before I left. Me and Dad were in the garage. I think Was she pregnant? No, mom wasn't pregnant at the time. But yeah, we were just talking and stuff. And then Tyler came over and was like, "Hey, I know you're leaving tomorrow. Do you want to play with my Nerf guns one last time?" And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be nice." And so he gave me his biggest Nerf gun to shoot, and I loved it. I love every single minute of that gun. But yeah. Then we moved to Colorado. We stayed in a on base actually for like half a year. Yeah. I think that's when I started developing my stomach problems. If you've seen my past videos, you probably know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna say it now because I'm just too tired to do that. But um, got out of my stomach problems. We moved into the house. It was an amazing house. I had a great neighbor. I had some friends across the street. We had a park in our neighborhood. It was awesome. Let's see, what injuries did I get there now? Oh, here's a big thing. So, my first day of kindergarten there, I my friends were always guys when I was little. Um, I found the three coolest guys, and I was like, "Hey, you want to make a club?" And we called ourselves the Dude Diary Club because we were all fascinated by this one book called The Dude Diary. I don't know why we called it that, but I don't know why we were fascinated with that book, but yeah. So then the three other friends in the group were Logan, Connor, and Justin. Uh, I'm gonna meet up with Justin actually when I graduate. He lives in Massachusetts, and which is a big surprising thing. And my family is going to go there. We're gonna go there um, after I graduate in like a year and a half, 2 years about. Yeah, yeah. And we're just gonna like take a trip around there and meet up with him, hopefully. But yeah, so we stayed friends from kindergarten to second grade when I moved. But something that happened while I was in like first, second grade, I learned how to ride a bike. When I was 8 years old, I learned how to ride a bike. Embarrassing thing, but it's true. I didn't know how to ride a bike until we were having a bike rodeo, which is like where you hone in your skills on bike riding or whatever. And I remember that day the day before so vividly. Um, my friends Reese and Ava had been like trying to teach me biking before that, and they were biking that same night. So me and Dad were at the park. I was trying to ride, and then for like 3 hours, it was like 10 p.m. at that time when I finished. I no, it was 8. Yeah, 8. And I finally did it, and I got out of the neighborhood, and I biked like standing up to get more speed going down the. We called it Mount Olympus because it was the tallest hill, the steepest hill in the neighborhood. So we would always bike down that, and yeah. But I was biking down Mount Olympus, and my friends Reese and Ava saw me, and they were like, "Yo!" And I was like, "Yeah!" And that just felt really good. That's the last thing I remember about Colorado. Then we moved to Vegas, and that's where a lot of stuff happened. Um, I met a lot of friends. I met the first person ever who had the same name as me, like the same first name spelled the exact same way, Braydon, and he had the same last initial, F. And we were in the same class. We lived in the same neighborhood. Both of our dads were in the military. Well, it was a military neighborhood, so I guess that makes sense. Um, and we both got into gate, and we both tested for H gate, which is higher gate. And I'm like, dude, are you my brother? Yeah, but let's see what happened there. The only injury I could think of in Vegas is the time I bashed my chin into a bathroom. Okay, this is a funny story. So it was Christmas time, right? We were going to the mall. I had to pee really badly. We were driving, and I was like, "Mom, I really gotta pee. I really gotta pee. I really gotta pee." And Dad was like, "Oh, fine." We stopped at this shady gas station. I ran in so quick. I saw the bathroom. I ran in so quick, and I wasn't looking. There was a puddle on the floor, and I slipped and bashed my chin to the ground. Knocked me out instantly. I was unconscious for like maybe a minute or two. I woke up disoriented, and I ran into the door and got knocked out again. When I woke up, um, I didn't feel a thing, by the way. But we went to the hospital immediately. I had to get stitches in my chin because apparently I lost like half a liter of blood, which is really bad. But I was like, what? I what? They showed me a picture, and I was like, that's a lot of blood. And so this is the funny thing. So the reason I have some good money in my bank account is because of that incident. So I'm not telling you how much on my bank account, but they offered us a certain amount of money so we wouldn't sue them. I only learned this like 2 or 3 years ago. But God, my hairline is so bad. But they thought we were gonna sue them, so they were like, "Please take this money. Please don't sue us." I wanted my parents to sue them so bad, cause like we would have gotten a lot more money out of that. Yeah. And Karen was. I remember when I like came back to and I was like fully functional. I remember Cameron was like, "Why did you slip? I wanted to see Santa Claus." And I was like, "That's my sister." But what was it? Oh yeah. So then I got into fifth grade. No, fourth grade. Fourth grade. Yeah, fourth grade. I got tested for GATE, not gay, GATE, which stands for Gifted and Talented Education, because apparently I was a smart, bright student. And yeah, I don't know either. But I I passed and I got into GATE, which means I had time out of class to do projects that I don't know, like inspire my creativity, I guess. But I remember this one project we did. It was a marble run. I we my team literally made the simplest um marble track. It literally just went down, down. Okay, wait. So it started up here. It went down, 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 and that's it. And we added a little loop at some point. I forget where, but yeah. Um, Yeah, it was fun. Like my friends were there, Brayden and I forget who else, but I know there was this one girl that the other Brayden like was in a relationship with a relationship with. I'm putting that in quotations because relationships in middle school and below don't mean a thing. But I was like, all right, but yeah. I got. Oh, so my school, Triggs Elementary, had a um broadcasting network that the whole school watched. Um, I so in fourth grade, I wanted to be on TBN, which is what it was called, TBN, Triggs Broadcasting Network. But I was in fourth grade. I couldn't be on TBN until fifth grade. So I had to join Rolling Reporters, which are the people who get like the information for them. And I got to be on the news actually because we took a trip out to the news station, the local news station, and so I got to be on the news. That was pretty cool. but and it was actually broadcasted on live TV. So that was cool. But a year later in 5th grade, when at the start of 5th grade, I tried out for to be on TVN. I got into TVN and on my first day, there was no one there to do like not broadcasting, the to be like an anchor, and I was like, I'll do it. And they were like, "Are you sure? This is a pretty stressful role." And I'm like, "Give me the damn chair." and so I was on TBN my first day, and Brayden was in there too. He was my co-anchor that day, and we went back to our class. Yes, we were in the same class in 5th grade too. So then no wait, actually that was 4th grade. Rolling Reporters was 3rd grade. TBN was 4th grade into 5th grade. So we got back to class, and the whole class clapped for us. They were like, "Woo! Woohoo! Yay! Woo! Good job, Brayden!" And we were like, "Which one?" Because we like had a bond at that point. It's so funny. In one of our gate classes, I guess you could call them. So there was this one problem that we had to solve. It was like a test day, a math day or something. And the answer was 118.95. Everyone else was thinking like something like 180 something. And me and the other Brayden just knew it was 118.95 or whatever I said. And then we both had our hands up, and the teacher, I forget her name, but she called Brayden, and we both stood up and we said 118.95 at the same time. And then she was like, "What?" And then everyone was like, "Is that right?" And then she's like, "That's right. How did you guys know that?" And we're like, "Hey, same name, same brain, same jackets, same game." And yeah, we had the same jacket. but surprising, right? But yeah. Then it was okay. This is the sad part. Well, actually, no. Let me tell you two good things first. Okay. So when we first moved to Vegas, we stayed at this hotel called the Aliante. Nicest place I've ever been. Nicest hotel ever. Well, three things actually. So that was the nicest hotel I've ever been in. So let me tell you about the Aliante. The pool on its own, makes it a 5 star because it's a saltwater pool. It's not a chlorinated pool. It's a saltwater pool. And the reason I could tell it was saltwater was because I could taste it on my lips, and I was like, "This is saltwater. I like this." So then we went. Oh no, never mind. So next thing, there was a huge ass casino attached to it, and that was awesome. There was a restaurant, a food court, and at the end there was a movie theater, a full movie theater. It wasn't just like one theater and there were like certain movies playing at certain times. No, it had like multiple cinemas in it, like multiple theaters in it that were playing different movies at different times. And I'm like, "What?" And at the end there was an arcade. That place is awesome. And the rooms there are amazing, I'm telling you. But another thing. Uh, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So my favorite place to go in Vegas was the Strip. And no, it is not a strip club. I get that a lot. It is a urbanized part of Vegas. Very urbanized. It had hotels and everything. Now, on the strip, in the strip, there was this one street called Fremont Street. It was one of the first streets ever made in the strip. And that street was like still intact with its old times. Like the street signs, like the road signs. Like you know how it say Frederickson Road or whatever? It looked different than all the other street signs. Like you know how normal street signs are normally green and white? These were orange and blue and white. And at the end of the street was this place called Container Park. That was the funnest place ever. I'm just gonna tell you that. It had my favorite jerky, JoJo's Jerky. This great lemonade place. The reason it was called Container Park was because it was made of containers, like shipping containers. And yeah, it was awesome. One last thing before the sad part. Um, I there was in our in our neighborhood. It was a gated community, right? So there was a pool there, and there was a hot tub in like amongst that. So yeah, that's it. That was my first experience with a hot tub, and I was like, "Ooh, this is a hot tub. Let me get in." The first time I got in, I was burning. Made me itchy. Still gets me itchy every time I go in a hot tub, but I like it now. Okay, sad part. Sad part. So, one day, I was about 11 years old. Yeah, one day, I was 11 years old. Just for one day. No. So, I was 11 years old. It was time for my yearly eye checkup. They were looking at my eyes, my optic nerves, and everything. They were like looking in, and they were like, "Huh, huh." And my mom, being concerned as she normally is, was like, "Huh, what? What was that huh for?" Excuse me. Um, and the optometrist was like, "His optic nerve is swollen. Does your son usually have dry eyes?" And my mom was like, "No, he never has dry eyes." And then the optometrist was like, "Oh, you might want to get an MRI. Is that could be something bad, but it's probably not. It's like a 1% chance of it being bad." And mom was like, "Well, 1% chance is good enough for me. We're going to get an MRI." So I went to an MRI place. It was my first time in an MRI. They gave me music to listen to, which was nice, but I could still hear everything, all the beeps and boops and loud crashes and everything. So I stayed in there for like 3 hours. I slept a little. When I got out of the MRI, I went home. Next day I was in school, and the intercom comes on. They're like, "Hello, is this on? Can I have Braden Flynn to the front office, please?" The whole class does, you know, you know what. the the normal, ew, someone's in trouble. And so I'm like, oh God, what did I do this time? Because I got in trouble when I was a kid. But I went out to the office, went down to the office, and they were, and I saw my parents, and I'm like, did someone die? And then mom and dad were like, no, no, your pediatrician just got the MRI results, and he wants to see us. And I'm like, okay. So we go over to my pediatrician on base, and then we're waiting in the waiting room. Our pediatrician comes out, see, see, visually sees us, not doesn't come up and says hi to say hi to us. He's like, he sees us, and when he gets to the waiting room, he's like, everyone, get out, out. And I was like, I didn't know you could do that. So then, while we were in the waiting room, he just everyone gets out. He comes up to my mom and dad and me, and he says, my mom says, "What's wrong?" And then he kneels down to my mom and dad and me, because I could like still hear them even though he wasn't speaking to me. He's like, "I'm sorry to say this, but your son has a brain tumor." My mom and dad, swear to God, they were bawling out. Their eyes raining tears, just a waterfall cascading down their face. I'm over here clueless because I have no idea what a tumor is. I'm just like, well, this is just going to be a new thing for me. Honest to God, that's what I thought. That is exactly what I thought. Um, Instantly, right from there, I went to Sunrise Children's Hospital. Within 30 minutes, I had like 7 IVs hooked up to me. IVs are like shots you get right here, right in these veins. That's what you usually. That's where you usually get blood drawn from. But they also put like IVs in there. They gave me like a bunch of medication to like give me sleepy for. They had to do a biopsy first. That's not the same as an autopsy where they like cut open a dead person. It's where they cut open a person that's alive. But I was under anesthesia and painkiller, so I didn't feel a thing. So, but yeah. So my biopsy was done. I was knocked out for like a couple of days. I couldn't wake up for. I was in a coma for a couple of days. I woke up. The nurses finally saw me awake, and they alerted my parents. Well, my parents were already there, but they were like, "Oh, your son's up." My parents already knew. They were like, "Yeah, we know. We've been talking to him for the past hour." But then she like called the nurse, the doctor, and everything, the surgeon, and everything. The oncologist is what it's called. That's the person. They came in and they said, "Mr. and Mrs. Flynn, I'm very sorry, but your son has brain cancer." Yeah. Um, yeah. Then my dad. I forget. I think my dad got a little angry at the oncologist for some reason. Oh, sorry. I don't know what got into me. Gas, obviously. But anyways, my mom was like, "Oh my God, this." And then so my mom was like, "Well, what type of brain cancer is it? Is it serious? Is he gonna die?" And I was like, "Doc, how long do I have?" And they were like, "Let me see here. You got 70 years." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. I'm good." So then they were like, "It's a low grade tumor, but it's a pretty rare tumor as well. It's like it's so okay." So here's the thing about brain tumors. Usually they're fatal. Mine is a low-grade tetraglioma, which is at the top of the brainstem. So what that means if they try and take it out and they cut it, my brainstem, I'm done. I'm gone. I'm dead. But we had to take a sample to like make sure it wasn't fatal or anything. So like yeah, we they went in and they touched the brainstem, which only paralyzed me for a little bit. So I was in a coma for about a month after that. Blah blah blah. I woke up. The first thing I said was, "I'm hungry." Like right when I woke up, I was like, "I'm hungry," because I hadn't eaten in like a month. So the nurse came in and she offered me a banana, and and swear to God, this is what I said. I hate myself for saying this. Sorry, I'm not much of a potassium man. I hate myself for saying that, but it's the truth. Um, Everyone had a laugh of it from that, and then they gave me some cereal. I think it was Fruit Loops. Yeah, Fruit Loops or something like that. And then then I got to go home for a night, one singular night, and then I had to go out to California from North Las Vegas, Nevada, out to Los Angeles, California, in like the span of 2 days. We did it in a day, 24 hours. Maybe it was 30 hours, but whatever. We didn't stop. I don't think the first time. So yeah, I did my outpatient therapy there. Well, no, my inpatient therapy there, where I like regained control of my right hand, sort of. Uh, and like I learned how to write and everything. It was sloppy, very very sloppy, sloppier than it is now. Obviously, like I can write semi okay now, but it was 100 times worse. This is gonna be backwards for you, cause cameras are dumb. This is not sharp. Yeah, this is how I write. Yeah, it was a lot sloppier back then, so don't hate on me for it. But and I had surgery on my brain. What do you expect? So then I did my therapy. I went back to Vegas after a month or so, and everything was all good. We thought until I had to get my first monthly MRI to like check in to see if I was okay. Then it turns out so when they did the surgery on my brain, one of the surgeries, they put a shunt in to like drain some excess fluid in the back of my head for some reason. What it was called was a shunt. It ran from the back of my head right here, which is why I have this frowny face scar. You probably can't see it, but if you can, yay, good for you. Right here, about. Yeah, right here. And, so there was a shunt there, which is basically something that just sucks out excess fluid. It had a line going from my head down my neck into my stomach, and that like got rid of the fluid, I guess. Turns out that overdrained and was causing like dried blood vessels to form, which was not good, very bad. So they had to remove the ventricles, as they called them, and remove the shunt. So there was still going to be excess fluid. There's still excess fluid like building up, but I have something now. It's called a hole in the skull. I think. Yeah, it's called a EEG or EKG or something like that, where they literally puncture a hole in your skull and it just drains into your stomach. I don't know how, but it just does. But yeah. So then I had to do another month at. I was knocked out for another month or so at sunrise. Woke up. Then I got to go home for a night again. This time they had a bed set up for me in the kids' room or whatever, and yeah, I got to stay there for a night or two. Then I actually went upstairs. Like my parents were like, "No, do not go upstairs." I went upstairs. Then I had to go back out to CHLA for my inpatient therapy again. And that's when the cool stuff started to happen. So, this was around Christmas time, which I know is the saddest thing to be, sad place to be at Christmas time, the hospital. But it was cool. Uh, this is around the time Star Wars, Revenge of the, no, not Revenge of the Fallen. What was it? Star movie 2015. The Force Awakens. And so I there was a convention going on in the hospital. By the way, the hospital I went to was huge. Huge. So downstairs there was like a corridor with like a conference room, a giant like conference room. It was more like a conference hall or whatever, but um in there was like a giant convention going on for Star Wars. I got to meet Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill. I got to shake hands with Mark Hamill. I got to shake hands with the original Luke Skywalker. Yeah. I got his signature. I got it printed on. I got his signature on one of his the first comic book, the first Star Wars comic book. Yeah, it was cool. And 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 there was also 25 Days of Christmas going on at that time. They came into my hospital room and they surprised me with a what I thought was a phone. I thought it was a phone because I was like, I didn't know what phones looked like. It was like about this big, and I was like, "Ooh, it's a phone!" So they had me on camera. I didn't know this. I screamed when I opened the gift like a girl. Look up 2015. Let me see here. 2015 25 Days of Christmas. Kid screams. That's probably up there. Oh my god, I. No. Okay, wait. Oh, whatever. Anyways, I thought it was a phone. I screamed. They put it in the commercial right at the end. So everyone remembers I screamed like a girl on camera. That was the funniest day of my life, honestly, though. But I met a lot of friends at the hospital. I became pen pals with one of them. I was actually known as a nurse because in like physical therapy, when we were doing sit-ups and everything, after every sit-up, I'd be like, "Is everyone good? Everyone good? We good? All right." I guess that's where I got like this caring, nurturing, like attitude, I guess. But yeah. So after that, I did my after that trip to the hospital, I was done with hospital visits. Um, until now. um, hopefully for the rest of my life. But then, well, until I'm like old and almost dying. But yeah. So then, we moved out to. Oh, I did my outpatient therapy where I like gained more strength back and everything, and yeah. My favorite therapist there was a guy named Tom. He was awesome. He was so cool. He left like halfway through my thing, and I was so sad that I didn't get to see him. But guess what? On my last day, okay, the time before my last day, I went. The time before, yeah, I said I miss Tom. I want Tom to be here on my last day, so you can see how far I've come. And my PT physical therapy person. Her name was Catherine, I think. Catherine or Kathleen. Um, she was like, I might be able to get that arranged. I kid you not. Next time I went, my last day, Tom was there. And I was his name Tom? I forget his name. I'm sorry if I forgot your. I'm sorry if Tom's not your name if you're watching this, but I forgot your name. It's been 5 years, more than 5 years actually. It's almost been like 6 years. But yeah. Then let me see here. Yeah, I saw him. I was so happy, and I got to hug him. I don't know why, but I was really into hugs back then. I'm still into hugs, but yeah. Then I was done with with outpatient therapy. I lived a normal life. I had to do well, not a normal life. I've never lived a normal life after that. But I well, actually, I have. I've lived a pretty normal life. Um, Mostly normal actually, except for the one day a year I have to get scans done on my brain. I had to do homeschooling for like 2 years. Oh, that's another thing. The second time I went to CHLA, they have a teacher at the hospital there. That was awesome. His name was Mike, and he taught me the military alpha code. Alpha, Beta, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Gamma, Hennessy, Indigo. I forget what J is. Kilo, Lima. I'm gonna say something stupid. I think M is Mega. Mega. Forget what N is. Omega. I think. I forget the rest. But oh, X is X-ray. Y is Yolanda. And I think Z is Zebra. I think I'm completely wrong, but whatever. But yeah, he was cool. So anyway, had to do 2 years of homeschooling after that. I did. I like did well, a year and a half of homeschooling, I guess. So I did half a year of fifth grade because that's when I got. That's when we found out halfway through the year of fifth grade. So I did half a year of fifth grade, and then when we came to Delaware, I did a year of sixth grade. Then I had to do chemo, which is chemotherapy, which apparently is like one of the worst drugs you could take. Let me see here. Is okay, no. I didn't have to take the worst chemo drug. I took carboplatin. But it says here the worst is doxorubicin. Alright, where were we? I just had to take a break to talk to my mom because she just got home from a date or whatever. But, so I had to do chemo for 13 months, every month. Um, in the beginning of chemo, like the first day I started chemo, they said you might experience some nausea and an allergic reaction from time to time. I never experienced an allergic reaction or felt anywhere near sick until my last one. My last one, I felt like my chest was closing up. Like I couldn't breathe at all. My airway swollen up. I just couldn't. But then I got an EpiPen, I guess, I think, and then I was all good. But on the way home, so this was the thing we always this is the thing we do to this day, actually. Oh, excuse me. We every time we go up to Philadelphia, we get everything done at she, CHOP, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. We get Krispy Kreme on the way back because there's this one Krispy Kreme place on the way, and it's like right in the middle. So it's like a good pit stop, and it's a good snack, a good treat. And the cool thing about this Krispy Kreme is there's a like a place where you can see the donuts being made, and it's like cool, like being made on the conveyor belt or whatever. But yeah. So anyway, uh, on my last one, I had to throw up on the way home, and every time I went to get my chemo done, my family brought a vomit bucket with me just in case, you know. Um, I think I had to throw up during chemo like once or twice, but never after chemo. And yeah, I did lose some hair in the process, like a few handfuls of hair. So yeah, that sucked. But now I got my hair back. Although my hairline is not the same. Ooh. But that's just something I have to live with. Um. So yeah, on the way back, I threw up, and I haven't thrown up since, which is weird because I used before we found out about this thing, the tumor, which I actually named Tyler after my best friend Tyler from Louisiana, as I told you at the beginning of this video. Um, because I think of it now more as a friend, because I don't want him to go, because that would probably mean I'd change. So before we found out about Tyler here, I threw up every month on the dot. Like there was a certain day, a certain time, and I like grew accustomed to it because I did it every month for 11 years at that point. And so I like knew when it was coming. I was like, all right, yeah, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, Dad. I gotta throw up in 5 minutes. And he's like, oh, it's time again. It's that time of the month. And I'm like, don't, don't say that. But yeah. So I haven't thrown up since. But what else? Oh, so I also had to get like MRIs every month. But after the chemo and everything, it got cut down to every other month, then every 3 months, 4 months, 6 months was the latest one. And now that I've gone 5 years without any. Okay, so 5 years of scans without any changes, without it getting bigger or anything, that means I have been now put on the survivor plan, the survivor list or whatever, which means I'm probably never gonna have to deal with this thing again. Like 99% sure. Now I probably just jinxed that, but whatever. Um. So yeah. Let me see here. What else? I else happened? Oh, I. Well, let's just talk about some more recent news. Yesterday, I did my first pull up ever. And today, I did 50. I did 10 yesterday, and today I did 50. I'm very proud of myself. And a few days ago, if you follow my Instagram at Big Greggy Baby Boy, it's a dumb name that I made up. Um, I leg pressed 300 pounds. Big strong man. Oh, and I got my first calluses today on this hand. They're right there. I can still see. Ooh, yeah, it's there. But yeah. Tomorrow we're going to Walmart to get some gloves and maybe some creatine or some for working out or whatever. But yeah, that's about it. Um, thank you for listening to my life story so far. Uh, bye.